Good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up in this bulletin, petrol and diesel prices see substantial increase at the pumps as the new Ghana cedi tax on fuel kicks in. Meanwhile, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana calls on government to reconsider and reduce some of the existing taxes on petroleum products.
There are some inbuilt taxes in there that is going into individual pockets. We want the government to pursue that and ensure that whatever monies that is not coming to the state, they take it off so that the Ghana cedi can be accommodated.
Ahead, we'll discuss how feasible this suggestion is. My name is Winston Take. Now let's bring you an update on how the Ghana cedi is performing against major global currencies. And now to our first business story. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana (COPEC) is calling on government to reconsider and reduce some of the existing taxes on petroleum products. Speaking to Joy Business, Executive Secretary of COPEC, Duncan Amwa, emphasized that scaling down current taxes is necessary to cushion consumers from further financial strain.
I do not foresee any of the oil marketing companies wait even an hour past midnight tonight, because any product that will be picked from this midnight per the GRA directive would attract the Ghana cedi levy. And I know for a fact that none of the OMCs would want to shelve this Ghana cedi, and offset it anyway, anyhow. So I am certain that by midday tomorrow, most of them would have adjusted their pumps already, because clearly GRA will be on their necks. Clearly, they would need the money to be able to offset their tax liabilities with the state. And so, unlike in previous instances where prices decline and it takes them 2 days, 3 days sometimes for it to reflect, we are likely to see these adjustments reflect by 6 a.m. tomorrow across most of the OMCs. There's a tax component on petrol that clearly can be scaled down. It's called the UPPF, which is the fund used to pay for the transporters that move product across the country. What they are being paid is about 45 pesos, yet the UPPF fund is collecting almost 90 pesos a litre.
Joining me on Zoom is tax expert Francis Timoboy for more insight on this. Now, Mr. Francis, is there any justification for the introduction of the new cedi levy on petrol basically, and diesel at this time?
Yes, I think the government made it clear in the budget that there's close to $3 billion that needs to be paid for. And looking around, petrol prices or commodities are the easiest to raise the kind of money that the minister was looking for. Overall, we're consuming close to 5.3 billion liters a year. And so on the back of the envelope calculation, you are expecting around 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. So we are told what the money is going to be used for. So if you ask me, I think that it is justified. And that is why you do not see most of the stakeholders fighting against it. We all know what we have sat down and we ran down our energy sector since 2015 when we introduced the energy sector levy. It's just like we are just, keeping it alive. We are not curing it. So it is justified.
All right, I want to understand from you, what will be the potential impact on the tax structure on petroleum and also overall inflation going into the next window?
Of course, it's going to, increase the pump prices. Currently, the taxes in there is close to 3 cities, 27 pesos. So what that means is that government is going to get around 4 cities, 27 pesos of every liter of fuel that you buy. And that is quite significant. And like the CEO said, they are going to pass it on to consumers. The fear is that today we are paying around 12 cities, 13 cities per liter. If the other variables in the pricing changes, and I'm talking about the price on the world markets and also the CD stability, if we are unable to sustain it, then what that means is that a liter of petrol will even cost more than what we used to pay. So that is the danger. And for which reason I heard the COPEC saying that government should review some of the taxes. Because today, if the Middle East starts doing their thing again and crude prices goes up, we'll be paying somewhere 17, and that will not be good for Ghanaians.
Are there other options government could consider in raising revenue instead of adding on pump prices?
No, crude prices are the easiest way, because everybody consumes it. And if you're looking for money in the short term, these are the areas you look at for. There are other long-term measures which we've seen the Ghana Revenue Authority, implementing. For example, the modified taxation. At the end of the day, it's money that we are looking for. And for me, the major one which we need to fix today is the energy sector crisis. You realize that since 2015, when we introduced some of these taxes on, petrol prices, we haven't been able to fix it. We keep rolling it over. And today we are seeing the 1 cedi being introduced, and Ghanaians are paying close to over 4 cedis in fuel prices. That is quite a lot. But we can't also sit down for the energy sector to collapse. Let's be bold and fix the energy sector whilst looking for money elsewhere to, do other things.
Just as the issues you highlighted in the energy sector, would you say that based on the call by COPEC, there may be fiscal slippages should government decide to take away certain tax elements in the petroleum price build-up?
The slippages may come in when the other variables I mentioned earlier may change. For example, today we're seeing the dollar stabilize. Some of us believe that the taxes that come, they don't really relate to petrol, is the sanitation levy. Maybe government can decide to see that we want to, cushion consumers a little bit, then that 10 pesos can be removed. But if we do not implement this 1 cedi, certainly there will be serious, implications. If you read the budget that was presented on the 11th of March, the minister made provision for purchase of petrol for the energy sector. The question is, if we did not implement this law, where is the money going to come from in the short term to buy this, crude oil for the power producers to produce power for us? You wouldn't want your light to go off. So there's going to be challenges if we don't implement this 1 cedi. But I think that we can do an overall evaluation of the other taxes and see what can be done, especially if the price of crude oil goes up and the city also lose the control. At the end of the day, you don't want consumers to pay more than what we are paying now. At least we've all benefited from the reduction in the transport fares. So it is a critical evaluation that needs to be done.
We've seen several taxes over the years being introduced, and the easiest target has been the petroleum sector. Over the years, the key question is, what has been the subsequent reflection of the use of those taxes collected? Is that a similar state we're going to experience with this one, from where you sit?
I think that we've been assured, and I perfectly agree with you, we've been assured that this particular tax is going to be earmarked, which means that we know where exactly it's going. In 2013, we introduced plastic waste tax.
Yes.
We were told that it was going to help us, clean the streets. As of today, we don't know where the money has been used and where the money is. So Ghanaians have legitimate concerns to say that let's be transparent. But let's see. Today we are implementing the 1 cedi. The president says that he's going to earmark this fund. It is going straight to what it is intended. And potentially they could, they could go by their words. Otherwise, I mean, it will also be, a problem for we taxpayers. Because we've seen a lot of them where we are told what the money is going to be used for. Take, for example, the 10 pesos sanitation levy. Have we been able to, clear the streets of the sanitation? No. So it is a very something that, I mean, the media can also pursue and watch carefully how much has been accrued and how much has been utilized. All of us must be interested in it.
Until the delay in passing on this levy, basically, we saw reaction from key stakeholders in the transport sector, the petroleum sector, advocating for price increment in their components subsequently. Are we going to see that happening anytime soon? And from where you said, what is the way forward?
No, I think that currently the OMCs get around 5% of whatever they sell. So I do not think that they can argue for more of that, because already the government is not prepared to, reduce some of these taxes. So going forward, consumers are those who are going to pay for. And the CEO mentioned it clearly that tomorrow, or even today, I'm sure you go to the pump prices and it will reflect. Going forward, what we are anticipating is that government should monitor closely the other variables so that the price of the price at which we pay at the pump do not escalate and go beyond what we used to pay when this new government took power.
Francis Tumabo, we appreciate your time here on the market. Thank you for that deep insights there. Now we'll move to another very interesting story. After years of hostilities between industry trawlers and artisanal fishers at sea, sanity is expected to be restored over fisheries and aquaculture bill. The bill, once passed by Parliament, will see the inshore exclusive zone extended from 6 nautical miles to 12 miles in sync with the 2022-2026 Marine Fisheries Management Plan. At a media briefing in Tema, the fishers tell Joy Business the incursions at sea have led to loss of lives and require urgent attention.
All comes as Parliament considers the new Fisheries and Aquaculture Bill. It supports the push to expand Ghana's inshore exclusive zone from 6 nautical miles to 12 nautical miles. Artisanal fishers, women fish processors, traders, and industry workers say the proposed extension follows years of stakeholder consultations and is backed by scientific evidence. Greater Accra Regional Chair of Canoe and Fish Gear Owners Association of Ghana, Reuben Jefferson Okanse, revealed that over the years, industrial trawlers fishing illegally close to shore have destroyed marine habitat, reduced fish catch, and damaged the livelihoods of coastal communities.
There has been a lot of consultation over there, just 5 years down the line when we'll be talking about this extension. And industrial trawlers have done a lot of havoc to our industry. Lives have been lost over the years, I mean, in some of these transactions. So we are pleading that this bill this time, as it is Parliament, it shouldn't last for long too much. Within the shortest possible time, they must be able to facilitate it so that they can pass the law. We are saying the 12 nautical miles is enough for them to do their transaction, so that their contest with us, as far as the small pelagics are concerned, will be a thing of the past. We really want Parliament to facilitate this bill for us so that we can have our peace and do our fishing.
Chief Fisherman Tema Wudum Ni Ashite Odamite is calling for strict enforcement of the law as done in other African countries.
Those countries, nearby countries, they are getting fish. But if you come to Ghana, we are not getting fish because such countries, they abide by the laws. You cannot go and use monofilament or the undersized meshes. The exclusive zone they have given to, they abide.
Now, this afternoon, petrol and diesel prices have seen substantial increase at the pumps as new 1 Ghana cedi tax on fuel kicks in. Government suspended the 1 cedi per litre on all fuel products a month ago for fear of potential hike in prices due to the Iran-Israel war. After deliberations, the levy is rolled out beginning today and is expected to take place over rake in over 5.7 billion cedis each year. lead data analyst Isaac Kofi J joins me in studio with more insight. Kofi, welcome to this is beneath the numbers. Let me go that way. Now, what is happening on the OMC market this morning following the announcement and implementation?
So, in fact, we've been tracking what is going on in the oil marketing company and also at the export price. And we are using data from CD Rates has been tracking this, and that's the data that we are using to tell the story. So on the smart wall right now are the top 6 that we have been tracking and how they have actually increased their prices as a result of the new additional 1 cedi levy on the export price of fuel. So we understand Total Energy is currently leading with the highest export price of 13 cedis, 30 pesos for petrol, Winston, and 14 cedis, 50 pesos for diesel. In terms of Shell, is doing 13 cedis, 29 pesos, and 14 cedis, 49 pesos. So you can see that there's not much difference between Shell and Total. The difference is very, very marginal. If you look at Goil falls below both Total and Shell, doing around 12 cedis, 88 pesos for petrol, and 14 cedis, 38 pesos for diesel. You can see Pacific and Star Oil. Yeah, the lead market. I mean, Star Oil is currently doing 12 cedis, 59 pesos, and 13 cedis, 99 pesos. So if you just consider the top 4, what we've done is to use this CD rate data and go back and compare this to what was happening yesterday. You can actually see that Total is currently having the highest price. But in terms of the marginal change or the additional change that have been added so far, let's try and understand. For Total, it added just 90 pesos to its price that I had yesterday. Okay. To its petrol price. And then added 1 cedi, 10 pesos to diesel. Shell did 1 cedi, 21 pesos to petrol, and 1 cedi, 21 pesos addition to diesel. Goil did 81 pesos addition to what it already had yesterday for petrol, and then 1 cedi and some few pesos to what it had yesterday on diesel. The highest, if you look at it this way, you can actually see that Star Oil has the lowest price. But in terms of marginal change, Star Oil has witnessed the highest among the top 4. That is 1 cedi, 60 pesos on petrol, and 1 cedi exactly on diesel. We don't understand why diesel is currently now very high. You can see a big difference between the export price of diesel. So based on just the assessment of the market that you just made mention, how much is government expected to make out of these intervention? Well, 5.7 billion Ghana cedis is what government is projecting. And they have actually said that, look, it will be much easier to collect levies from export price of fuel than possibly Momo transactions, that people will find ways and means to actually, try and not pay that tax. With this, the projection might be near what will be the actual that will be gotten at the end of this year. 5.7 billion Ghana cedis is what government is targeting. And the main reason why government is doing this is simply because of the rising energy sector debt. You heard of the energy minister talking about that. So that is a target close to about 6 billion. Interesting. Briefly, what are we expecting today on Beyond the Numbers? Oh, of course. You know what we should expect. Beyond the Number comes away 2 p.m. And today we are looking at that $1.4 billion injection into the market to support the cedi. And we're asking a very simple question. Is the current stability we have seen the cedi actually enjoying artificial? That's what we'll be discussing on Beyond. We'll break it down subsequently. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Isaac Kofi, for bringing us that insight. Now we take a short commercial break. We have more business insight here on the marketplace. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now, an $8 billion trial by Meta platform shareholders against Mark Zuckerberg and other current and former company leaders kicks off today over claims that they illegally harvested the data of Facebook users in violation of a 2012 agreement with the U.S. Federal Trade Commission. MyJoyOnline.com's Kenneth Awachedako joins me in studio to break down more details about this trial happening earlier today. Ken, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Now, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, people know what he does, but currently, what is all this trial about?
So we know the Meta boss has been in the news most of the time, and usually it's for the wrong reasons. Today is one of those days where he is facing trial over some issues around data privacy regarding his company. We know that some 8 or 7 years ago, he had an issue with the scandal that had to do with the Cambridge Analytica, where Facebook was being said to have engaged in the abuse of user data in terms of, for campaign issues with the consulting company called Cambridge Analytica. Even Ghana right here, we have our own brush with that specific company, which became a huge saga on its own. And that is what the former shareholders of Meta are contending on. They are accusing Mark Zuckerberg of, foul play around that particular transaction, and also taking advantage of that because they know that around the time when the issue came up, the company was fined a certain amount. Mm-hmm. But they also realized that Mark Zuckerberg has, sold off some shares from the company belonging to him. So they are also suspecting some insider trading over there. So this is basically what the $8 billion lawsuit is about.
Where does it position the issue about data protection and privacy basically for organizations and users?
So if you look at the fact that even those taking on the Meta CEO are former shareholders of the company, makes you appreciate how deep the road goes in terms of user privacy. We have had conversations around the need to protect data of, both institutions and individuals because they are very sensitive. And we know how much of a value that is placed on data and its usage. It basically shapes the world around us. And so if you have something as valuable as it is data and you sit atop a huge company as big as Meta, you realize that it is very important. So it also brings up the issue of regulatory, infractions that are supposed to be looked at. Tech experts who are, monitoring this trial are hoping that, tech bros who are actually developing new software that have to do with the usage of people's data, take a close look at it and make sure they implement measures that do not exploit their data as is alleged to have been orchestrated by Mark Zuckerberg. It's
interesting to say sometimes you go on a certain website, they want to ask for permission before you can log on to certain portals. And the terms and conditions are as long as an essay. And they slowly, you just want to cut it off and just click and accept. What cautious steps do you say people should consider before subscribing to any platform?
A lot of these days you realize that when you go down to the terms and agreements of some of these applications or softwares that we use, you realize that it's a very lengthy, yes. It's a very bulky document that people do not want to go through. So most of the people just subscribe, just hit agree, and then they move on with their lives. And they start using the platform without any repercussions whatsoever imagined that would come up. But those issues are very critical. You realize that even in terms of some of the applications that are being used, yes. There are very different versions for the Western countries, and even in Africa, they are very different. So
I'm sure this is an issue that we need more time to break it down much. Thank you so much, Kenneth, for bringing us that insight. We'll certainly be following it up here on the marketplace to bring you up-to-date development from the trial. That's all for today on the marketplace. My name is Winston Taki. Thanks for watching. Have a good business day. Bye-bye.